away, you chickens. This car has a date with the stork. Every story in the world begins this way. Sometimes there isn't a doctor to give the stork a run for his money, but on the McBride farm in Canada's Prince Edward Island, they're all prepared. And the news is the doc has won with minutes to spare. For weeks, the whole family have been guessing. Will it be a boy or girl? Or could it be twins? It's one of those things that even science can't foretell. Wait and see. That's about all that can be said. But one thing is certain. He or she will come from a long line of aristocrats. A fine young lad with his mother's markings. The Colt bellhop is a standard-bred horse, a breed that has taken shape over the last 150 years. This type of horse is bred for speed in pacing and trotting. He stands lower than the thoroughbred and is slightly heavier. When bellhop is 2 years old, he will be roaring around the oval racetracks, pulling a bicycle sulky and breaking records, maybe. He's been promised to the farmer's oldest son, Bob, who will train and race him. The following year, bellhop begins his career as a harness horse. Standard-bred horses have been developed by crossing thoroughbreds with trotting breeds like the Hackney and the Norfolk Trotter. The usual fast gait of a horse is the gallop, but thoroughbreds sometimes have a natural trotting gait. When the colt is a year old, he's introduced to the harness and training sulky. This machine is made of wood and is heavier, narrower, and longer than the racing sulky. Bellhop would like to heave the sulky and all its trappings into the sea, but it's a losing battle. Many Prince Edward Island farms have their own racetracks. Bellhop looks as if he'll be a good pacer, and the McBrides are training him for that gait. A pacer moves his fore and hind legs in the same way. A leather hobble is used to hold him to the pacing gait and prevent him trotting or galloping. The bicycle sulky is a precision piece of work with ball-bearing wheels and a tubular frame. It weighs about 30 pounds. Bellhop's track times look good, and next year, Bob will be racing him in competition. Slow motion shows how a hobble prevents galloping and forces this horse to run to the pacing gait. The pacer is slightly faster than the trotter, and on a short run, these horses travel about 30 miles an hour. The earliest trotters and pacers were ridden under saddle. When a trotter or pacer can do a mile in 2 minutes, he's a horse to be reckoned with. Today's fast speeds on the track are a result of training, good driving, well-designed sulkies, and successful shoeing. A lot of important work goes on under the spreading chestnut tree. If a horse is not properly shod, he may develop faults known as overreaching and interference. These faults are corrected by shoes of proper weight and balance. The owner tells the farrier how the horse runs, and shoes are designed to meet his faults or peculiarities. The shoes, called racing plates, are made of wrought iron and weigh about 8 ounces. They're changed at least every 2 months. In winter,